All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Module 4, Lesson 4 today. This is a lesson about this thing called dimensional analysis. And what dimensional analysis is, it's a process that we use in many science classes in order to convert between units. Like if you take a chemistry class or a physics class, which many of you will, you're going to use this dimensional analysis stuff, and it's going to help you with converting units. And the nice thing about this is if you can get it down, it translates from one science class to any other science class. And it's very, very useful, and it's more concept based. So you don't have to memorize, multiply, or divide. You just let the units put the numbers in the right spot for you. So let's look at a few examples and see how this works. So in this problem, 48 inches equals blank feet. Okay, and most people could just kind of figure this out. But again, this is not about getting the answer to problems like this. This is about learning the dimensional analysis process and starting to get comfortable with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by bringing down my starting value. I have this 48 inches. I'm going to start with this, and I am going to bring the units down. The units are going to be very important to us here because they're going to tell us whether to put things on top or bottom of fractions so we can set it up and make it work. Okay, so the next thing that I need to do is I need to get a conversion factor for this. And most of us know for this one that our conversion factor is going to be that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches because, that's how many inches are in a foot, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fraction out of the pieces here of this conversion factor that I've written over here on the right. And I'm going to put that fraction right in here, and I'm going to put it in such a way so that my units cancel. That's kind of the key to using dimensional analysis properly, is putting units in such a way that they cancel. And when we're doing fraction multiplication, we've seen it in the past, things that if we have common factors on the top and bottom of fractions, then they'll cancel out. We can do that exact same thing for units. So since in my 48 inches over here, this is on the top at the start, I'm going to take the inches part of my conversion factor, this one right here, and I'm going to put it on the bottom of my fraction. And I know to put it there because I want those inches to cancel out. Inches on the top, inches on the bottom, bye-bye. And then that means the other part of my conversion factor, the 1 foot, has to go up top. Okay? And so if I look back at my original problem, I was trying to make feet show up on the top. I have feet on the top of my fraction here. I'm done. This is a very simple problem to do, and you probably don't need dimensional analysis to do that, but I would encourage you very strongly to use dimensional analysis on these easy ones just because you want to start getting comfortable with it, because this is going to carry over to conversions where we do 2 or 3 or even 4 conversions in the same problem. It's going to make those complicated conversions much, much simpler. Okay, so now it's just a matter of doing some fraction math here. When we multiply fractions, we know that if we have common factors on the top and bottom, we can reduce them. And 12 goes into 12 one time, and 12 goes into 48 4 times. And when we multiply, now that I've reduced a little bit, straight across the top, straight across the bottom, 4 times a bunch of 1s is 4. So we'll get that correct answer there. Okay, so we are going to have to remember some of our fraction rules here. And the key thing is when we're multiplying fractions, we want to reduce our fractions by finding the common factors that are on top and bottom. Okay, so the last one was pretty simple. We probably could have figured it out without dimensional analysis. This one still probably could if you think about it a little bit, but a little more going on. And in fact, in this one, if we're using kind of the standard conversion factors here, we're probably going to want to do this in 2 steps. At least that's the approach that I'm going to take here. Okay, so, but I'm going to start the same way. I've got 144 inches. I'm trying to convert this into yards. I'm going to start by just bringing down what I'm given here. I'm given the 144 inches. I know eventually I'm going to want some number of yards over here, okay? And now I need to think about what conversion factors I have available, okay? And I would suggest maybe making a little list of the conversion factors that you see when you're going through your homework, because you're not going to have access to the question help features, in your test. So just having a nice little list of conversion factors to use is going to be helpful on the test, because this test is not about memorizing conversion factors. It's fine to bring those conversion factors with you. But for this test, for this problem, I'm going to use a couple of different conversion factors. I'm going to use the 12 inches equals 1 foot like I did on the previous one, but that doesn't do what I want. I don't want to go inches to feet. I want to go inches to yards. So I'm going to need another conversion factor as well. And I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So these two conversion factors kind of in combination are going to get me from the inches that I started with to the yards that I want. So now I'm going to just do some fraction multiplication to make this happen. So looking at my choices here is my only factor, my only conversion factor that's got those inches in them. And again, the key concept here when you're using dimensional analysis is to let the units put the numbers in the right spot for you. I have inches on the top. I don't want inches anymore. So that means I need to take the inches from my conversion factor, put it on the bottom because that'll let me cancel those inches out. And if I put that 12 inches on the bottom, I have to put the other part of my conversion factor on the top. That's how those are going to work. Okay? And my inches are gone. And now I'm at feet, right? But I'm not done. I want yards. So I've got to keep going. Use the same process. I want those feet on the top here to go away. I've got 3 feet as part of a conversion factor up here. And again, I want to set it up so that my units cancel. I've got those feet on the top. I want to put the feet on the bottom here to get rid of those. Okay, and that means the other part of my conversion factor, the 1 yard, has to go up top. And look at what I've got. I got yards on the top. I wanted yards. That's good. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to wind up with the correct units on the top. All of our other units canceled out. We've accomplished that goal here. Okay, so now it's just a matter of going through and doing some fraction math. And when we have multiplications with fractions like this, we're going to be looking for common factors on the top and bottom. The first one that jumps out at me is I know 144 is 12 times 12. So we want to divide 12 divided by 12 is 1. 144 divided by 12 is 12. Okay, and then I've got a 3 on the bottom and a 12 on the top. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And now I've got 4 times a bunch of 1s. This is 4 yards. Okay, so this is a dimensional analysis problem. You had to go through a couple of steps, right? But you'll notice I never said, oh, I'm going to multiply or, oh, I'm going to divide. What I did instead was I looked at the units, put the numbers in the right spot for me. Don't really have to think about multiplying or dividing because it's just going to work out as long as I get those units into the right spot. Okay, so next in this section, we're going to have some of these dimensional analysis problems where they're going to be application problems. And this is going to be an example of that. This is specifically an example for the nursing students out there. In this particular example, it says a doctor orders 500 milligrams of a drug for a patient. But when you're a nurse, a lot of times you'll go down, you'll pick up your medicine that's been ordered, and you'll look at the label and it'll be in a different form. So like this one says, the label of our drug says we have 0.2 milligrams per tablet. We're going to try to figure out how many tablets we should give to this patient. Okay, so for problems like this, we're going to start by just writing down our doctor's order. You know, that's what our goal is. We're starting with 500 milligrams, right? But my goal eventually is to figure out how many tablets to actually give the patient, right? And I have a couple of conversion factors. First off, in the note, it tells me that 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. So this is going to be a conversion factor that I'm going to need here. And then this 0.2 grams per tablet that it says, it's also a conversion factor. So, you know, really this means 0.2 grams is equal to 1 tablet. And that's going to be part of my conversion as well. Okay. So the problem first off here is that my doctor ordered milligrams, right? And my label gave me grams instead. So my first step is to convert between those two, right? I want to go ahead and get rid of those milligrams. And if I want to get rid of milligrams, I know from the dimensional analysis process that I need to put those milligrams on the bottom of our fraction. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to put my 1,000 milligrams down below. And then that means the 1 gram, the other part of my conversion factor, needs to go up top. And then those milligrams are canceled. They're gone. That's what we want. Okay, and so I have grams, right? But I'm not finished because got to keep your eyes on the goal here. My goal is to make tablets eventually, so I'm not done. I need another conversion factor to make that happen. Luckily, we have our labels conversion factor that says 0.2 grams equals 1 tab. So I'm going to continue on with that. And I know because I have grams on the top, I need to put grams on the bottom here in order to cancel those out, right? And that means the other part of my conversion factor, the 1 tablet, needs to go up top to get that set up. Okay, and now you'll notice my units are tablets. I wanted tablets, so I'm done. I've finished my dimensional analysis process. Now it's just a matter of simplifying it down a little bit, okay? And so multiplying this out, 1,000 times 0.2 across the bottom will be 200. So 500 over 200, you can either reduce it, like all those zeros will cancel. 5 divided by 2 is going to give me 2.5 tablets there. Okay, so again, the process is similar for these nursing style problems. We want to start with our doctor's order in most cases, and then we want to use that dosage strength from our label as another conversion factor. Now, one really important note is this conversion factor over here, 0.2 grams equals 1 tablet. This is a fact only for this specific medicine, right? Different medicines are going to have different dosage strengths. So it's important that you note that this is a conversion factor that only works for this problem, won't work for all problems. Okay, so hopefully that's enough to get you off to a decent start with this. I will stress again that this lesson is not about memorizing conversion factors. There's absolutely nothing wrong with if you have to convert feet to miles, just go into Google, putting convert feet to miles in, and then you're going to have it pop right up for you. The conversion factor that you need will be right there. So don't spend time memorizing conversion factors. What we want you to do instead is to get comfortable with the process. And I'll be honest, especially if you're going to send me your work on these problems, you really want to practice this dimensional analysis stuff. That's what's going to get you partial credit for this class. But much more importantly, this is what's going to pay off in your future science classes. You're really going to see this again if you take a chemistry or a physics class. So practicing this, getting it down is certainly something that's going to help most students. Okay, but please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. Let me know how it can help. You guys have a good day.